a final stampede wild card spot. All right, Bailey McCannell making her way on inside of the Westoba Credit Union Limited arena right now. Trying to get everything set up. Her fast time's a 14.36 posted by Angela Tapp. 14.37 is what we have in number 2 spot. But this is Bailey McCannell. One to the right. Second barrel goes down. And we got one more to go before she heads on home. And we will stop the clock at a time of 14.38 plus 5. 14.38 plus 5. For the last 2 years, one Cowgirls rode into Prairie Land Park to the CCA Finals and left crowned the champion. And that Cowgirl is the next one coming on into the arena. She now calls Brandon, Manitoba home, and her name is Shayna McCannell. She's on the reigning Horse of the Year, Handsome, and she's going to work right now. We got one more turn to go before she heads on home. Shayna McCannell. She'll stop the clock at a time of 14.70. 14.70. And then there was one. We're headed on down to the big muddy country of Saskatchewan. This is going to be the Cowgirl Ashley Cleveland. She's a former CCA finalist, and this is a Cowgirl also trying to get into that final wild card spot. So it all comes down to this weekend. 14.36 is what we have in the lead. That's Angela Tapp, but this is Ashley Cleveland right now. We got a time of 14.24 and straight to the top of the leaderboard for Ashley Cleveland, 14.24. That's going to be unofficially our go-round win. In the first round right here at the Mrca Final Stampede, Ashley Cleveland, absolutely phenomenal job. As we even up our ground right now, once again, we like to thank our friends of Rodeo. That's going to be Verdant Animal Hospital. Our shoot sponsors, we'd like to thank Mazer Group, Master Feeds, along with Styles Masonry Limited, Bergland Ranch Supply. They sponsored our timed event, and Fraser Auction Limited. Thank you to them as well. We'd also like to thank Action Power out here in Brandon, Manitoba. Along with our Mrca Final Stampede Platinum sponsors, we'd like to thank Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, along with Heartland Livestock Services and Garcia Group of Companies. And our official host hotel for the 2024 Manitoba Final Stampede is none other than the Days Inn. We'd like to thank each and every one of our sponsors, as we'll now set the stage for the Cowgirls, our junior barrel racers. These Cowgirls are 16 years of age and under, and they'll be running in moments from right now once we get our ground all evened up. We'll now set the stage for our next Cowgirl, and we're going to get it started off with the number 1 junior barrel racer in the Manitoba Tour. We met this Cowgirl's mother moments ago. This is going to be the young lady, Kiera Williamson. This Cowgirl's been absolutely lighting up the Manitoba Tour. She placed at each and every single rodeo she entered in all summer long. Pilot Butte all the way down to Wayway-Sikapo. She absolutely lit it up this season. She's on the Horse of the Year, Chewy, and she's going to go to work right now. Kiera Williamson, 1 to the right, 2 to the left. We have one more turn to go before you can help her home right now. And she's going to stop the clock at a time of 14.49. 14.49. Going to set the pace here in our junior barrel racing. Next to go is going to be the young lady out of Beachy, Saskatchewan. This is Ali Capeller. This cowgirl, multiple-time KCRA finalist, stepped up to the Canadian Cowboys Association this year, and she absolutely lit it up, coming into the Manitoba Tour Finals in number 2 spot, and she's rounding third and heading on home right now. She's going to stop the clock at a time of 15.03. 15.03 for Ali Capeller. Next, we're headed on down to the cowgirl out of Hazenmore, Saskatchewan. This is a multi-event cowgirl. She'll also rope in the ladies' breakaway roping, but she's a very, very talented junior barrel racer as well. She placed all season long on the Manitoba Tour rodeos, most notably Weyburn, Brandon, Wayway, Whitewood, Beausejour, Ole's Trading Post. She's been picking away at the pay window all year long. She's qualified to the Canadian Cowboys Association Finals again this year, and she's going to go to work right now. Tess Switzer lifts her leg to get around that first barrel. We got one more to the left and one more turn right now before she heads on home. Tess Switzer is going to stop the clock at a time of 14.91. 14.91, unofficially putting her into number 2 spot in the junior barrel racing as of right now. We'll now welcome in our tractor hand once again as we're going to rake at the halfway point. We bring the top 6 junior barrel racers in the Manitoba Tour to the Manitoba Finals. These cowgirls are not trying to compete for a wild card spot. The junior barrel racers qualifiers, they already know who they are. They are set up to run in North Battleford, Saskatchewan this weekend, October 24th to the 27th. We're now going to rake up the ground before we come on back with our next cowgirl, Kelsey McGee, who's trying to beat our fast time posted by Kiera Williamson of a 14.49. All right, as our tractor comes to a park, we're going to set the stage up right now for number 4 in the order, Kelsey McGee. A cowgirl out of Deloraine, Manitoba. Heated up at the end of the season. She picked up first place, was crowned the junior barrel racing champion in Beausejour, Manitoba a few weeks ago. She's going to try to ride that momentum on into the run right now. All right, Kelsey McGee coming on in on the beautiful sorrel horse. Very nice first barrel right there. Flying lead change in between. Down goes number 2. If you knock a barrel, that all but takes you out of contention on making any money. We're going to stop the clock at a time of 14.11. Unfortunately, that knocked barrel is going to add on 5 seconds. 14.11 was almost the fastest time of the night. As now, we're going to set the stage for For a cowgirl out of Weyburn, Saskatchewan, this is none other than Tyra Kamita. The cowgirl picked up second place, was reserve junior barrel racing champion in Tisdale, Saskatchewan to start off her year. At one of the highest paying rodeos of the year, Brandon, Manitoba, earlier on this summer at Wayway Sakapo Gas Bar, she split second and third. And she has qualified to the 2024 CCA Finals already. But she's looking to take a nice clean run right there. And she's going to round that third barrel, head on home, and stop the clock at a time of 15.69. 15.69 for Tyra Kamita. And then there was one. A young lady that qualified to the Manitoba Final Stampede via the final rodeo of the year in Beausejour. This is the young lady, Marty Fisk. She's coming to us out of Mooseman, Saskatchewan. We have a 14.49 in the lead. A 14.91 in number 2 spot. That's Tess Switzer. But right now it is time for Marty Fisk. First and second are still standing. Nice, clean run. We got one more to go before she heads on home. And we're going to stop the clock at a time of 16.14. 16.14. And that's going to bring a close to our junior barrel racing here tonight. Unofficially, our champion, the number 1 cowgirl coming on into the weekend. He's in Moore, Saskatchewan's Kiera Williamson with a time of 14.49. 14.91 unofficially has Tess Switzer in number 2 spot. Ali Capeller unofficially in number 3 spot with a 15.03. And we've had a few people question on whether or not the Manitoba Final Stampede is going to be streamed, and it is streamed. I believe the link is posted on the Canadian Cowboys Association Facebook, and you can find it on YouTube Live. If you type in 2024 MRCA Finals Rodeo, it should come up. So once again, you can find the live stream link. For those of you who may have family at home wondering and trying to watch, you can check it out on the Canadian Cowboys Association Facebook page. They posted the link on there right now. So we're now just going to give our arena our final groom before we come on back with the Wildman's event, the bareback riding. And as we do that, once again, thank you to our host hotel, the Days Inn, Verdun Animal Hospital, our friends of Rodeo, Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Westover Credit Union Limited, Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, Action Power out of Brandon, Manitoba, Heartland Livestock Services, and Garcia Group of Companies. All right, as we're headed on down to the rough stock end of the arena, we'd like to welcome in two very important men selected for the Mrca Final Stampede. Two of Manitoba's best pick of men we have. It is none other than Wayne Rowe and Cam Mason. They'll be doing their best to keep our Cowboys safe all weekend long, and they are two of the best in the business. We're going to head on down to the Styles Masonry Limited Buck and Shoot for the first time of the night, with a Cowboy coming to us out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. This is going to be the Cowboy Spencer Parker. He's qualified to the CCA Finals already. Both of our open bareback riders are already qualified to the CCA Finals. So they're just here to try to pick up an Mrca Final Stampede title and a whole lot of money. Spencer Parker is going to be our gunner, matched up against the Prairie Rodeo bucking horse, Valley City. The Cowboy runs one hand inside of that rig and the other hand free. The Mrca rule is very, very important. He has to have the heels of his boots on the points of the horse's shoulders, and he's going to go to work right now. Come on, Spencer Parker, matched up against a phenomenal bucking horse right there, brought to us by Carl and Muriel Barrett. Valley City, Spencer Parker bucked off. You want to talk about how tough that Cowboy is getting up and walking out of the arena after that fall. I guarantee you that ground is not soft, but you have to be tough to grow up in Winnipeg. Why don't you put your hands together and pay off that young Cowboy just a little bit here tonight. Spencer Parker bucked off. And now we're headed on down to the chute closest to the stands out of the left-hand delivery. This is going to be the Cowboy Justin Carrier. He comes to us out of Arcola, Saskatchewan. And ladies and gentlemen, this Cowboy is the reigning CCA year-end champion. The Cowboy's a multiple-time CCA Finals qualifier, and this year he wanted to step up and win a title that has eluded him his entire bareback riding career, and he got the job done. But it was not for lack of effort. This Cowboy had to absolutely step up to the plate, and for some of our rodeos that did not have a whole lot of entries, you're allowed to double enter. This Cowboy did exactly that, and there was a few instances where he picked up first and second place. And right now, he's matched up against the Horse City Stars, brought to us by Prairie Rodeo. Come on, Cowboy, get those feet moving. Manitoba, you can help him out just a little bit. The Cowboy out of Arcola, Saskatchewan, battling it out all the way to that 8-second buzzer. Steps off on Mr. Wayne Rowe. How about Justin Carrier, the reigning CCA year-end champion? Good job, Cowboy. Also serves on the board of directors for the Canadian Cowboys Association. The board of directors for the CCA, they've been putting in their hours, planning the 2024 CCA Finals, which will once again take place in North Battleford, Saskatchewan next weekend, October 24th to the 27th. All right, we get it all added up. Mr. Elmer Eagle and Gord Adams mark that horse 1-50. 1-50 for how good the Cowboy rode. We got a score 70 points for the year-end champion. All right, now we're headed on down to the novice bareback riding, where the Cowboys have not made $1,000 as of yet. Wide Verbeek, he's a Cowboy coming to us out of Alberta. He's matched up against the horse brought to us by Prairie Rodeo Ticket. The novice bareback riding, these horses are this event is identical as you just seen in the open bareback riding. The only difference is these Cowboys are only riding for 6 seconds. This Cowboy out of Youngstown, Alberta, drove over the land of living skies out here to the Keystone province. And the Cowboy picked up the win at Ole's Trading Post out there at the Chukachas First Nation Rodeo, where he picked up points to try to qualify to the MRCA Final Stampede, and he is going to be our lone novice bareback rider. As the cowboy is running his hand inside of that bareback rig, and right now riding right hand down, the markout rule is once again into effect. Wyatt Verbeek, the cowboy is a multi-event hand. We've seen him entering in the novice bull riding, the open bull riding as well earlier on this year. The cowboy is coming to us out of the Fraser Auction Limited bucking chute. Looks like he's just about ready to nod right now. Come on, Alberta. This is Wyatt Verbeek. Wyatt Verbeek, the cowboy, was there for the 6-second buzzer. Good job, cowboys. Got that momentum rolling from the last rodeo of the year. Rolling on into that Manitoba Final Stampede right here. Once again, putting our judges, Elmer Eagle, veteran rodeo cowboy out of Whitecap First Nation, Mr. Gord Adams, who knows a thing or two about bareback riding. He's watched enough of them in his life. We got a score of 67 points. 67 points for Wyatt Verbeek. Good job, cowboy. Now we're headed on down to the novice saddle bronc riding, switching up events just a little bit. We're going to get it started off with a cowboy who qualified in 2023 to these very finals in the junior steer riding. The cowboy's getting his feet wet when it comes on down to the saddle bronc riding, and this is his first finals in the saddle bronc riding. Bo Armstrong out of Shellbrook, Saskatchewan, matched up against the horse Insider, brought to us by Prairie Rodeo. Not only are these cowboys trying to learn the ways of the rodeo world, these horses are doing the same. Some of them are young up-and-comers. Some of them are old campaigners. And this is Bo Armstrong out of Shellbrook, Saskatchewan. Gets a little rattled outside of that. His swells right there, comes down before the 8-second buzzer. That is going to be no score, bucked off. Why don't you put your hands together and pay off Bo Armstrong just a little bit right there. No score, bucked off. All right, as our cowboy pick-up men ride on in there, Wayne Rowe, Cam Mason escorting that horse out of the arena. We get the stage set for our final novice saddle bronc rider of the evening. This is going to be the young cowboy, Trey Shadlock. He's matched up against the horse Daydreamer. Trey Shadlock, this cowboy, picked up the win earlier on this year in Whitewood, Saskatchewan. He went down the road to Arcola Roughstock and picked up the win there as well, and went all the way out east to Beausejour, Manitoba, where he was crowned the champion in the novice saddle bronc riding there as well. He comes to us out of Debden, Saskatchewan. Looks like he's just about ready to nod out of the Mazer Group bucking chute. Gets that rein measured just right. You want to make sure that rein is measured and it matches with the horse you're getting on, so you have a good rein measurement. And he's going to go to work right now. Trey Shadlock getting those feet moving. Yeah, boy, cowboy. Good job. He's going to step off right now on our cowboy pickup men. And he's down, and he can hear from you right now. How about it for Trey Shadlock? Good job, cowboy. He's going to be our only qualified ride in our novice saddle bronc riding, so you can mark him 50, you can mark him 100. Regardless, he's going to be the champion here in round one of the MRCA Final Stampede. Putting our judges to work once again. We got it all added up. How about 71 points? 71, giving him the lead in our novice saddle bronc riding right now. As we're now switching ends of our arena from our rough stock end, we're going to head on down to the timed event end right now. And as we do that, we'd once again like to thank our sponsor, our host hotel, the Days Inn. Friends of Rodeo, we'd like to thank Verdon Animal Hospital, Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, Action Power from right here in Brandon, Manitoba, along with Westoba Credit Union Limited. And we'd also like to thank Ole's Trading Post and Trucking. They are one of our platinum sponsors, along with Heartland Livestock Services and Garcia Group of Companies. All right, we're going to head on down to the team roping end of the arena. We're going to get it started off with our gunners. Ben Switzer, the cowboy out of Hazenmore, Saskatchewan. He's teamed up this season with Travis Griffin, the young cowboy out of Elbow, Saskatchewan. This team has been roping together all year long, and they've made money earlier on this season right here in Brandon, Manitoba at the Summer Rodeo. They made money there. Went down the road, picked up second place in Ashern and fourth in Beausejour. That punched their ticket to right here to the 2024 Manitoba Circuit Finals. Ben Switzer throws down. Unfortunately, that's going to be a no time. Next to go is going to be the young cowboy Payson Peterson out of McCord, Saskatchewan. He's teamed up with Weston Packett out of La Flèche. Payson Peterson, I've had the pleasure of watching this cowboy just last weekend at a college rodeo. He's been hitting the Canadian College Rodeo Association rodeos along with Saskatchewan High School before that. This cowboy's working his way up through the rodeo ranks the right way, and he is very, very handy with that rope in his hand. This team started off their season pretty hot in Tisdale Rambler Rodeo, where they picked up fourth place. They picked up fourth place in Radville, Saskatchewan as well, and they went up to Swan River, picked up third there. Payson Peterson, third generation rodeo cowboy. He's on the head side. Weston Packett, the cowboy out of La Flèche, Saskatchewan, is on the heels. These cowboys are just about ready to nod. As of right now, we are yet to have a qualified time in the team roping. The barrier line comes into effect for the first time this evening, ensuring that Payson doesn't get a little too eager, and he gives this steer a proper head start before he starts his run. It looks like he's just about ready to nod on one of the prettiest head horses we'll see all weekend long. The young cowboy out of McCord, he's paying attention to the details right now behind that barrier line. He wants that horse standing absolutely perfect. He knows there's a whole lot of talented ropers behind him, but Payson Peterson throws down. Nice head catch. Dallies up, goes left. Come on, Mr. Packett on the back end. They had to dally up, face up, but we dropped the flag. We got a qualified time. How about a time of an 8.8 for the young cowboys out of McCord and La Flèche, Saskatchewan. 8.8 going to set the pace here in our team roping as of right now. And now we're headed on down to a team that coming to us out of the Big Muddy region of Bengoff, Saskatchewan. Mac McCaig, he's going to be on the head side. Kelson McQuaig is going to be on the heels. This team picked up the win earlier on this season at the Manitoba Tour event in Whitewood, Saskatchewan with a time of a 5.9. They split second and third in Pilot Butte, one of our premier events. Prairie Rodeo's been a long-time stock contractor there, and these cowboys can get it done. We have an 8.8 in the lead as of right now. That's Payson Peterson and Wyatt Packett. Come on, the McQuaig boys, but it's not going to work out here tonight. On a Thursday night, that is going to be a no time. Next to go is going to be a cowboy out of Virden, Manitoba. Our first header out of the Keystone province. It is none other than Justin Miller. Tanner Froschhog, the cowboy out of Minton, Saskatchewan, is going to be his partner here. And this team has roped together for the majority of the 2024 rodeo season. That team we just seen, that Mac McQuaig and Kelson McQuaig, this team, Justin Miller and Tanner Froschhog, they tied that team earlier on this year in Pilot Butte, Saskatchewan, with a time of 6.9, splitting second and third. That same weekend, this team picked up second place in Radville, and they kept on their winning ways in Swan River along with Asher in Manitoba. As right now, we're just making sure our barrier line is set up just right. Justin Miller, multi-event hand. We'll meet him a little bit later on in our steer wrestling. Along with his partner, Tanner Froschhog. He'll be in the steer wrestling as well a little bit later on. But right now, they're going to try to beat a time of an 8.8, posted by the Young Guns, Payson Peterson and Weston Packett. Justin Miller throws down no time, no money in round number 1. Now we head on down to another team that's made up of a couple all-around cowboys. It is none other than Justin Bridgman, the cowboy out of Binscarth, Manitoba, on the head side, teaming up with Austin Welpton, the cowboy out of Virden, Manitoba, on the heel side. We got a good head catch right there by Mr. Bridgman. Austin Welpton throws down, comes up empty, no time. No time for two cowboys out of right here in Manitoba. Why don't you do me a favor and pay them off just a little bit? No time, Justin Bridgman and Austin Welpton. And now we're headed to the northeastern Saskatchewan for the Cowboys, making their way out of the Bears' Den. This is going to be Jason Rudy Schellenberg. These Cowboys picked up the win earlier on this year in Asher, Manitoba. They get a nice head catch. Here we come on the back end. Come on, Schellenbergs. Let's go to the pay window. We're going to add 5 seconds onto the time. And we look back at the barrier, and they were a little quick to pull the trigger here tonight. We're going to add another 10 seconds on top of that plus 5. We're going to add 15 in total. 5.8 is what they would have been. Plus 15 makes it 20.8, and unofficially second place in the round. And now we're headed on down to the young cowboy out of Carnduff, Saskatchewan, Ty Patton. He's teamed up with Coulter Dunn. This team has not roped together all season long, but they're coming together right now, and they're going to try to beat that time of an 8.8 posted by Payson Peterson and Weston Packett. Yes, sir. Nice clean runs, but we look back at the barrier, and there comes that barrier line into effect one more time. We're going to add 10 seconds onto the fast time of a 6.1, 16.1 when we get it all added up unofficially into number 2 spot for the go-round. Now we're going to head on down to two of the veterans of the Canadian Cowboys Association. Two former champions in the Canadian Cowboys Association. It is none other than Delisle, Saskatchewan's Vincent Traynor on the head side and the reigning Cowboy of the Year, Scott McLeod, out of Waldeck, Saskatchewan, on the heel side. This team has qualified to the CCA finals more times than I can count, and they will be there again this year. But right now, they're trying to win the money at the Manitoba Stampede Finals. We got a miss on the head side. You do not see Vincent Traynor miss very often, but unfortunately tonight that is the case. Those are two of the best team ropers we have in the game, and they can hear from you right now. No time for Vincent Traynor. Scott McLeod. Now we're headed on down to the Iron Man of the Canadian Cowboys Association. This is the High Point Cowboy himself, Scott Sigfusson, out of Tegasky, Saskatchewan. He's teamed up with the multiple-time CCA finalist Ashton Lehman out of Paynton, Saskatchewan. Ashton is on the reigning Horse of the Year, Ace. Scott Sigfusson, this Cowboy, has qualified to the CCA finals in multiple events, but right now he's focusing his attention on down in the team roping inside of the Westoba Credit Union Limited Center. These Cowboys have been as quick as 5.6 at Manitoba Tour rodeos already this year. We have an 8.8 in the lead. That's the young Cowboys, Payson Peterson and Weston Packett. The young guns are going to be watching this run. They know Scott Sigfusson and Ashton Lehman. Each and every time these Cowboys riding behind that barrier line, they're going to be trying to gunning for the win. They picked up multiple event wins already this year. First in Radville, first in Wayway, first at Ole's Trading Post, and right now they want to be first on a Thursday night. Scott was going for one reaching headshot right there, but unfortunately it does not pay off for him here today. No time. And then there was one. Our final team left to go is the number one team in the Mrca Tour. It is going to be Tufton McLeod out of Moore, Saskatchewan on the head side, Brady Chappell out of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan on the heels. Both these Cowboys have been CCA team roping champions in the past. Both these Cowboys have qualified to the Canadian Finals Rodeo, and Brady Chappell was just there weeks ago. There we go. Tufton McLeod throws down. That's going to be in no time. So, unofficially, our champions are round number one, the Young Guns. Payson Peterson out of McCord, Saskatchewan, teaming up with Weston Packett out of La Flèche with a time of 8.8 are going to be crowned the champions in round number one here in Brandon, Manitoba. All right, we're heading on down to the bucking chutes for the second time of the evening as we like to introduce to you two very important men down in front. Not only are they selected for the MRCA Final Stampede, our cowboy lifesavers, our bullfighters, we got two of the best in the business, our 2024 CCA finalist bullfighters as well. It is none other than Caleb Bedford and Cody Strandquist. As we're now heading on down to the junior steer riding, with the Master Feeds bucking chute. We're going to try to figure out our next cowboy to go. The junior steer riding in the MRCA for 53 years. Manitoba has had rodeo built by the MRCA. We'd like to thank them for all the work they do. They've been building champions for a long, long time. You look at some of the alumni we have from this association, from this region, that went on to compete at the biggest stages in the world. You look at two-time PBR Canada national champion Zane Lambert, multiple-time, 8-time NFR finalist in the bareback riding. Oren Larson, he got his start right here. His brother Tyrell, who went on to win a national college title in the saddle bronc riding and ride at the NFR, they all got their start right here in the junior steer riding in the Manitoba rodeo ranks. The Major Group buck and shoot, that's where we're headed to right now. We're going to head on down to Joel Fisk, the cowboy coming to us out of Moosomin, Saskatchewan. He got his season rolling in Radville, Saskatchewan, where he split the win. And he went on down the road, split one Asheron as well. But tonight he's riding. This is Joel Fisk out of Moosomin, Saskatchewan. Getting tipped into his hand just a little bit. Recovers not once but twice. Putting in that second and third effort. Good job, Joel Fisk. Joel Fisk, the cowboy out of Moosomin, Saskatchewan, got tipped into his hand not once but twice. The judges will notice that, but that cowboy did not quit, and he kept riding. Putting our judges to work, 1-50 for the steer on how good that steer kicked, buck, and spun. And we got a score back. Joel Fisk was 65 points, 65 to set the pace in our junior steer riding so far. Now we're headed on down to the Master Feeds buck and shoot to a cowboy out of Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. If your last name's Moorhead and you're out of Maple Creek, chances are you're going to be in the rodeo world. This cowboy's father qualified in the junior steer riding to the Manitoba finals, to the CCA finals, and now his son is following in his footsteps right now. Luke Moorhead, this cowboy stepped up to the plate at one of the highest paying rodeos all year in Brandon, Manitoba at the Wayway Sakapo Gas Bar earlier on this summer. He picked up third place. That gave him the boost he needed to get rolling in the Manitoba Tour rodeos. He split second in Whitewood. He got a fourth in Wapella. And right now, if he wants to move to the top of the leaderboard ahead of Joel Fisk, he has to be better than 65 points. These cowboys can ride with one or two hands, but if you start with one hand, you have to finish with one hand, and your free hand has to stay in the air, just like in the bull riding. If you start with two hands, you have to finish with two hands in the rope. This cowboy, Luke Moorhead, going to try to carry on the family name right now. Prairie Rodeo, they bring absolutely perfect stock for our young up-and-coming cowboys to try to learn the ropes of the rodeo road. As I mentioned earlier on before, this is just a stepping stone for these cowboys to go on and pursue the rough stock end of the arena. A lot of these cowboys, you'll see them as time goes on, they can pursue from the junior steer riding. They'll go on up to the novice bareback riding, novice saddle bronc riding. In the CCA, we have the novice bull riding. And from there, they can make the step on up to the next level. That's the open. But right now, it's time for Luke Moorhead out of Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. Keep hustling, buddy. Keep riding. Kicking loose like Ted Noose. Good job, cowboy. Steps off away from his hand. That's what we like to see on a Thursday night. Brandon, Manitoba, we're 2 for 2. Good job right there. The young cowboy out of Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. Opens up, spurs on him a little bit. That is not necessary, but it does help the cause. We get it all added up. How about 64 points? Going to be unofficially into number 2 spot in the round. Next to go is a cowboy out of Bigger, Saskatchewan. New York is big, but this cowboy's from Bigger. This cowboy picked up first place at Ole's Trading Post at the very end of the season. The punches ticket to right here to the MRCA Final Stampede. This cowboy's also qualified to the CCA Finals next weekend in North Battleford, Saskatchewan. October 24th to 27th, well, he'll be riding against the 5 other top steer riders in the CCA to try to pick up a steer riding title and put his names next to the likes, some of the best names in rodeo. Aaron Roy, Tanner Byrne. As right now, this steer inside of that buck and chute is just giving this cowboy a little bit of trouble. The buck and chute we're headed to right now is Styles Masonry Limited. So right now, if I can break down exactly what's going on inside of that buck and chute, this steer is just not wanting to play exactly fair. Giving him a little bit of trouble inside of there, jumping up. When you're inside of that buck and chute and you have your bull rope pulled tight, if the steer goes down, that's fine. You do not want them laying all the way on their belly, and when they jump up like that, for the most part, you are safe. You might get slammed to the left, slammed to the right, and bang your knees against the post just a little bit. But for the most part, as long as they're not going down, all the way down, you can work with that. This cowboy knows that, but one thing that could have happened when that steer jumps ahead, just exactly as that is it's just not giving him enough time to get his rope pulled up tight and to make sure that rope stays in position. It is very important to where you position your rope inside of that bucking chute. If you have your rope run up a little bit too far forward, there's just not enough room up there for your feet. But if you run it too far back and that steer kicks hard, chances are it's going to take all that momentum and throw you out over the dashboard. Nixon Capel, this cowboy's just getting his feet wet inside the junior as of right now. His goals when he set out at the start of the year, he wanted to make the KCRA finals. He checked that off. He wanted to make the CCA finals. He checked that off. He wanted to qualify to the Manitoba finals, and because of his showing at the last rodeo of the year, he checked that off his goal list as well. So this cowboy's doing his rodeo career the right way, and he's going to try to make sure that he's able to ride, and he's going to take every precaution he can inside of this bucking chute right now, but he wants to win the Manitoba title. I mentioned before some of the great names you see in the junior steer riding from years past. Oren Larson, Tyrell Larson, he's a former Manitoba champion. Zane Lambert, he's a former Manitoba champion as well. Those cowboys use this to learn the basics of rodeo, went on to the professional level. Nixon Capel's just about ready to nod right now. The cowboy out of Bigger, Saskatchewan, he just wants that steer head up to look outside of the arena. And down goes that steer, and that is 3 tries. So we're going to reassess that situation and roll on down to another cowboy. All right, so we're going to switch the our attention on over to the Action Power bucking chute. Action Power out of right here in Brandon, Manitoba. Thank you for stepping up and sponsoring our rodeo here in 2024. This is going to be the cowboy Gunnar Armstrong out of Shelbrook, Saskatchewan. Correction, this is Jet Lockey. Jet Lockey right there absolutely stomps one out. Good job, cowboy. Jet Lockey, the cowboy out of Wascata, Manitoba. That's one of your own from right here in the Keystone province. And that cowboy is pursuing his rodeo career absolutely perfectly. He's getting the guidance of one of the best in the game, Zane Lambert. has taken him underneath his wing, and it proves it here today. We get it all added up. As of right now, we have a 65-point ride in the lead. But, Mr. Lucky, you're going to like this. How about 74 points and a new leader? All right, 74 points, moving Jet Lucky straight to the top of the leaderboard. As now we're headed on down to a cowboy out of Waldeck, Saskatchewan. This is Tucker Denberg. The cowboy picked up second place at one of the highest paying rodeos of the year at Wayway-Sakapo Gas Bar right here in Brandon, Manitoba earlier on this year. He picked up a second place in Ashern, and he has a 74 that he's trying to beat right now on a Thursday night. That cowboy making that 8-second buzzer correction. Putting our judges to work. Our junior steer riders, they came to ride here on a Thursday night. Riding absolutely everything we're ran in so far. 74 is what we have in the lead. That's Jet Lucky. We get it all added up. 59 points. 59 points for Tucker Denberg. Now we're headed on back to Sherbrooke, Saskatchewan. This is going to be the number one cowboy in the Manitoba Tour, Gunnar Armstrong. This cowboy won multiple rodeos on the Manitoba Tour this year, including one of the most historic rodeos just down the road in Austin, Manitoba, the Thresherman Days Reunion Rodeo. He was crowned the champion there. Brandon, Manitoba, Wayway-Sakapo Gas Bar. I had the pleasure of watching this cowboy ride to the win there as well. That 74-point ride we have in the lead, Jet Lucky, an absolutely phenomenal ride that cowboy put together, but that score is not safe when Gunnar Armstrong is just about ready to nod his head. Let's go to work, cowboy. Come on, Saskatchewan. Keep riding, Gunnar. Don't weaken, cowboy. Kicks loose right at the end there, trying to get a couple money chops in before that 8-second buzzer goes. Now he gets off into his hand. Good job, cowboy. Gunnar Armstrong. Heads up, Gunnar. Cody Schranquist shot that gap to absolute perfection right there. Good job, Gunnar Armstrong. All right, Gunnar Armstrong, that cowboy, rides in Saskatchewan High School Rodeo as well. We get it all added up. 69 points, good enough for number 2 in the go-round. 69 points for Gunnar Armstrong. And now we're headed back to the cowboy out of Bigger, Saskatchewan. He's coming to us out of the Mazer Group Buck and Shoot. Looks like he's just about ready to nod. This is Nixon Capel. Nixon Capel having a little bit of tough luck inside of this buck and shoot here again tonight. Right when that cowboy nodded his head, that steer unfortunately was just leaning on the gate a little bit. That is one of the reasons why you want to make sure these steers are standing up as straight as you can get them when you're inside of that buck and shoot. If that steer is leading on side of the inside of the buck and shoot, that would be on this cowboy's left leg. That just doesn't allow you to get up properly into position. The same goes for if that steer's leaning on the right leg. The only difference is when we open that chute, as we did right there, there is potential for that steer to kind of fall out of the bucking chute as all its weight is onto the gate. We're going to try to get it all situated right now. Nixon Capel, looks like the young cowboy out of Bigger, Saskatchewan, is just about ready to nod right now. Let's go to work, cowboy. Sit up. Come on, Nixon. Good job, cowboy. Battles through a little bit of adversity right there. Gets a qualified ride. Ladies and gentlemen, we're 6 for 6 in our junior steer riding. The Cowboys came to play here tonight on a Thursday night. 6 for 6, 100% riding average. As we're going to get that score relayed back for that last cowboy right there, Nixon Capel out of Bigger, Saskatchewan. Heads up in front as we are going to release our extra steer on out into the arena. Mr. Cam Mason and Wayne Rowe ride on in. As we get that score, once again, we'd like to thank our host hotel, Days Inn. We get it back 69 points unofficially into a tie for number 2 spot. 69 points, so that makes our champion unofficially in our junior steer riding none other than Jet Lockey with 74 points. He's going to be our champion in round number 1. As we make our way from the rough stock end of the arena down to the timed event end, we'd once again like to thank Verdon Animal Hospital along with Westover Credit Union Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, along with Mazer Grew Master Feeds, Styles Masonry Limited, Fraser Auction Limited, Action Power, and our Mrca Final Stampede Platinum sponsors is none other than Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, along with Heartland Livestock Services and Garcia Group of Companies. As we now head on down to our timed event end of the arena for the first time we're going to head on down to our steer wrestling for the weekend. Here's our gunner, Jace Bareback, going to go to work right now. Gets down just the way we need him to. Now he's going to try to go to the nose and throw this steer so all 4 legs point in the same direction. Yes, sir. Mr. Adams drops the flag. We look over to our timers for the official time, 11.0. 11.0 is what we have in the lead for the young cowboy, Jace Bareback, out of Whitewood, Saskatchewan. Now we're headed on down to Coulter Froshog. Now we're going to head on down to a former champion in the Canadian Cowboys Association. This is the cowboy out of Weldon, Saskatchewan, Coulter Froshog. Qualified to the finals by picking up a 3rd place in Radville, Saskatchewan, 5th place in Weyburn, and a 4th in Whitewood. The barrier line once again comes into effect to make sure these cowboys give that steer a proper head start in the steer wrestling. For those of you who may be new to rodeo, the cowboys do have a little bit of help on the far side of the box. That's what we call a hazer. The hazer's job is to ensure that the steer rides into the slot perfectly so this cowboy can dismount his horse at a full gallop Slide alongside the back of the steer, grab them, throw them so all 4 legs point in the same direction, and we'll drop the flag and stop the clock. All right, Coulter Froshock, multiple-time CCA Finals qualifier, trying to get there again this year via the wild card spot from the MRCA Stampede Finals right here in Brandon, Manitoba. After an entire season of rodeo, it all comes down to this weekend right here. Our fast time as of right now is 11.0, posted by the young gun out of Whitewood, Saskatchewan, Jace Bareback. Coulter Froshock's going to work right now. Hard running steer. He takes that first ride by. And that is going to be a no time. All right, if you bought a 50-50 ticket, please get that ready as we have the winning ticket number for just over $250. So once again, if you bought a 50-50 ticket, please get that handy. We have drawn the winning 50-50 number, and we'll be announcing it right after this run. All right. We're headed on down to Sunningdale, Saskatchewan for a former National High School Finals qualifier. This is going to be Coulter Taylor. The cowboy out of Weldon, Saskatchewan, out of northern Saskatchewan, going to work right now. Coulter Taylor, come on, cowboy. Yes, sir. Coulter Taylor right there. We get a time of a 6.9 and a new leader, Coulter Taylor. The Cowboys currently number 2 in the Canadian Cowboys Association standings. He qualified to the CCA Finals already. And now we're going to head on down to the cowboy out of Sunningdale, Saskatchewan. All right. It is now time for Sunningdale, Saskatchewan's Clay Ellis. The cowboy was the only qualified time earlier on this year in Beausejour, Manitoba, where he won over $2,000 when he was crowned champion there. He split 4th and 5th in Swan River, and he picked up a 5th place check in Whitewood. This Cowboys rodeo down south in the United States of America, in the toughest region there is, down in Texas. And his season all comes down to this weekend. Let's get a hold. Let's go to work. Clay Ellis. Yes, sir. We get it back right now. My timers are telling me, how about a time of 5.6 and straight to the top of the leaderboard. Good job, cowboy. Clay Ellis, 5.6. As now we're headed on down to a cowboy from just down the road in Verdun, Manitoba. A cowboy who's represented the Keystone province down at the National High School Finals in the past and represented Manitoba at the Canadian Cowboys Association Finals as well. This is the cowboy, Austin Welpton. He was the champion steer wrestler earlier on this season in Radville, Saskatchewan. He split 1st and 2nd in Weyburn, Saskatchewan as well. And he was the reserve champion in both Brandon, Weway-Sakapo, Gaspar Rodeo, along with Swan River. He's coming into the Manitoba Tour Finals, ranked number 3 in the Manitoba Tour. He has not punched his ticket to the Canadian Cowboys Association Finals yet this season, so a whole lot is coming on down to his performance here this weekend. One of the wild card Cowboys, Clay Ellis, takes the lead with a 5.6. Then we have a 6.9 with Coulter Taylor in number 2 spot. Austin Welpton, there's your shot. Get down. Let's go to work and sling some beef. Yes, sir. Drops the flag right there. And we got a time of a 6.7. 6.7, unofficially the second fastest time in the go-round right there for Austin Wilpton. The Cowboy out of Virden, Manitoba, making the Keystone province proud here on a Thursday night. 6.7 for Austin Wilpton. As we now have a moment, we would like to bring your attention on over to the 50-50. The winning ticket number is a red ticket, 5765945. Once again, that's ticket number 5765945. So if you have that winning 50-50 number, you can head on over to where you paid admission to get on into the grounds. As right now, we're headed on back down to the rodeo action. This is Tate bareback going to go to work right now. Just a little bit of a hang-up right there. That Cowboy was destined to win the round. But that's rodeo here tonight. We get a time of an 8.9. 8.9 unofficially into fourth in the go-around. Going to be a little bit long when it comes on down to winning some money here in round one. So once again, our winning 50-50 ticket number is a 5765945. A red ticket, 5765945. Now we're headed on back down to Minton, Saskatchewan. This is going to be the Cowboy at one of the premier rodeos of the Manitoba Tour in Pilot Butte, Saskatchewan. This Cowboy walked away the champion with a time of a 4.4. This is Tanner Froschhog. If that Cowboy was to run that same exact run in the dirt right here at the Westoba Credit Union Limited Center, that Cowboy would be crowned the champion in round one. Our fast times, Clay Ellis with a time of a 5.6. Tanner Froschhog finds himself in unfamiliar territory in the 2024 season, and he has not yet qualified to the 2024 CCA Finals Rodeo. He is trying to make his way through that final wild card spot, which adds a whole new level of suspense, a whole new level of drama. These Cowboys have rodeoed all year, going up and down the rodeo trail, and their final shot to make it is through the Mrca Stampede Finals right here in the Westoba Credit Union Limited Center. Tanner Froschhog is just about ready to roll. 5.6 is what we have in the lead. 6.7 is what we have in number two. Tanner Froschhog looks like he is just about ready to nod. The Cowboy has a whole lot of horsepower underneath of him right now. These steer wrestling horses, they are trained to have to run as fast as they can at the drop of a hat, so they are wired just a little bit different than you would see at the horses that you'll see a little bit later on in our tie-down roping that we've seen moments ago in our team roping. But this is Tanner Froschhog. The Cowboy was absolutely gunning for it right there, but that is unfortunately going to be a no time. No time for Tanner Froschhog in round number one. And now we're headed on down to Blaine Lake, Saskatchewan for a multiple-time CCA Finals qualifier. This is the Cowboy Tyson Willick. A Cowboy worked his way up through the National High School Rodeo ranks through Byway Saskatchewan High School Rodeo, where he went down when he was just a teenager to compete at the largest rodeo in the world in Rock Springs, Wyoming, where this Cowboy was crowned the reserve world champion in the National High School Rodeo ranks. And he did not stop there. He went on to qualify multiple times to the CCA Finals, went up to rodeo professional rodeo ranks where the Cowboy made money up and down the professional rodeo scene. But right now he's focusing his attention on down to the steer we have loaded up right now. The Cowboy Tyson Willick, young in age at just 33 years of age, But he is one of the veterans when it comes on down to our steer wrestling roster here this weekend. 5.6 is what we have in the lead. Tyson Willick, this cowboy can get it done in as quick as that 3 to 4 second range. The young gun Clay Ellis, he knows every time that this cowboy rides in behind that barrier line and he nods his head, he's always playing to win, and he's going to try to do that here today. Yes, sir. Absolutely phenomenal run right there. We got a time of a 3.7, but unfortunately that barrier line comes into effect right there with that cowboy. 3.7 plus 10, 13.7 when we get it all added up. And now we're going to head on down to the cowboy out of Tegaski, Saskatchewan. This is the number one cowboy when it comes on down to the Manitoba Tour Steer Wrestling standings. This is none other than Scott Sigfusson. If you want to talk about a cowboy that absolutely lit up the Manitoba Tour this year, just about each and every time he rode in behind the barrier line the way he is right now, he made money. We want to talk about Tisdale, Pilot Butte, Radville, Brandon, Swan River, Whitewood, Verdon, Wayway-Sikapo, and Rossburn. The cowboy made money at each and every one of those rodeos, and that is absolutely unheard of unless your name is Scott Sigfusson. A little bit of a delay right there, but he gets out just right. We look back at the barrier, and that's what I was afraid of. We have a time of a 5.3, but unfortunately, that cowboy broke the barrier. That steer did not help the cause right there, as he did hang up just a little bit. 15.3 when we get it all added up. Scott Sigfusson, the cowboy with the number one back number in the CCA finals next week in North Battleford, Saskatchewan. 15.3 and no money in round one right here in Brandon, Manitoba. And now it is time to head on down to the most decorated steer wrestler we have in the Westoba Credit Union Limited Center here tonight. This is the cowboy Justin Miller. He's number 2 in the Manitoba Tour standings coming on into the weekend. He's from just down the road in Verdon, Manitoba. He's already punched his ticket to the CCA Finals, a feat he's done in the past. He's qualified to the Canadian Finals Rodeo multiple times, and he's rodeoed out there at the biggest stage of them all, the greatest outdoor show on earth, the Calgary Stampede, where he represented not only the country of Canada, but the province of Manitoba. Come on, Justin Miller, go to the nose, throws him down, drops the flag. We look back at the barrier. Looks like the cowboy got out clean. We got a time of a 6.3, unofficially second fastest in the go-round. That makes unofficially our champion in round number 1, none other than Sunningdale, Saskatchewan's Clay Ellis with a time of a 5.6. Good job, cowboy. One of my good buddies right there, Clay Ellis, taking care of business on a Thursday night, 5.6. Good job, cowboy. As we're now going to take a little bit of time to even up our ground and allow you to stand up, stretch your legs, grab something to eat, something to drink. We're going to be back with a rodeo action in 8 minutes from right now, which puts us coming back at 8:40. So once again, we'll be back with our second half of rodeo at 8:40, 8 minutes from right now. And as we make that transition, we'd once again like to thank our sponsors, as we'll do so each and every time we can. Verdon Animal Hospital, Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Westoba Credit Union Limited, Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser, Manitoba Stampede Finals. That's Fraser Auction Limited, along with Heartland Livestock Services, Garcia Group of Companies. Thank you to you. And once again, we're going to be back with the rodeo action in roughly 7 minutes from right now. All right, we're about 1 minute away from the start of our second half of our rodeo. So once again, if you haven't found your seats, please make your way on back so you don't miss any of the rodeo action here tonight. We'd once again like to mention our 50-50 winning ticket number, which you could pick up at the admission table there. Red ticket numbered 576594. And you won yourself just over $250. All right, as we make our final minute adjustments on down there in the rough stock end of the arena, once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors. The Days Inn, Garcia Group of Companies, along with Heartland Livestock Services, Action Power out of Brandon, Manitoba, Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, Fraser Auction Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Styles Masonry Limited, Westover Credit Union Limited, along with Master Feeds, Mazer Group, and Verdon Animal Hospital. So right now we're going to head on down to our rough stock end of the arena for the classic event of rodeo, our Cowboy Saddle Bronc riding, an event with a very rich history. The origin of rodeo started with the saddle bronc riding over 125 years ago, when one ranch would have a cowboy that couldn't be throwed. They would take them to try to ride the horses that couldn't be rode. They'd match up ranch versus ranch with bragging rights on the line. Then through over time, it developed on into the modern day event of the Cowboys saddle bronc riding, which we got a little bit of a taste of earlier on today with our novice saddle bronc riding, but now we're opening up the doors to the open. We once again like to mention our stock contractor bringing absolutely phenomenal bucking horses and bucking bulls all weekend long is none other than Carl and Muriel Barrett, Prairie Rodeo. They ran a clean sweep when it come on down to bucking stock of the year. They won bareback horse of the year, saddle bronc horse of the year, and Cody Strandquist, their bull hand, won bucking bull of the year. So Prairie Rodeo absolutely cleaning up, and there's a reason why. You'll see Carl, he'll have horses and bulls at high school rodeos, amateur rodeos, along with a little bit higher end events such as the CCA rodeos, along with exhibition. The Cowboy supplies stock there each and every year. And you'll see a lot of his former horses, they're bucking on the biggest stages in rodeo. When it comes on down to Canadian Professional Rodeo Association ranks, the Calgary Stampede, the National Finals Rodeo, you'll see a lot of those bucking horses bucking at those events. Carl Barrett, Thank you very much for having us all weekend long, supplying the stock. So we're going to try to figure out which bronc rider is going to be our gunner, whichever one is ready first. And once again, tomorrow night, the action is headed right inside of this arena once again at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. on Saturday night. That's when we're going to be crowning the champions and figuring out who qualifies through that final wild card spot from the Mrca Final Stampede to make their way on into the Canadian Cowboys Association Finals. Then we'll have a couple days off, but not too many, as Thursday afternoon is when we're going to be kicking off the CCA Finals with our banquet at the Don Ross Center in North Battleford, Saskatchewan at 11 a.m., I believe. And then we will have our first performance at 7 o'clock that night. For the first time, the CCA Finals is heading to my hometown of North Battleford, Saskatchewan. We're happy to play host this year, and we're happy to have the Canadian Cowboys Association in the building there. All right, we're going to get it started off with our classic event of rodeo, Blake Rasmussen. The cowboy coming in, the highest ranked on the Manitoba Tour. This cowboy is the reigning novice saddle bronc riding champion, moved up with the big boys here tonight, and this cowboy's had an absolutely phenomenal year on the Manitoba Tour to get here. He's matched up against the horse Rawhide Supplements, brought to us by Prairie Rodeo. Master Feeds Buck and Shoot is where the action is headed right now, as the cowboy sets his feet inside of those stirrups, gets that rein measure just right. Looks like he's just about ready to nod right now. Let's go to work, cowboy Blake Rasmussen out of Moosomin, Saskatchewan. Keep charging, keep lifting, keep riding. Oh, it is wild, it is Western, and it's all run rehearsed here tonight. We're going to make sure everyone is all right, the horse included. Mr. Cam Mason rides in there and helps escort the bucking horse out of the arena. Rawhide Supplements, a great trip right there. Blake Rasmussen absolutely matching him perfectly move for move, getting those feet moving the way he knows how. And that's the reason why the cowboy is the highest ranked bronc rider we have coming on into the weekend. So we are having a little bit of radio difficulties down here, as one of them is not working. So we'll get that score relayed back to you as soon as we can. 73 points, 73 to start it off. Now we're headed on down to the Cowboy out of Big Beaver, Saskatchewan, coming to us out of the Fraser Auction Bucking Chute. This is none other than Chance Strogren. The Cowboys qualified to the CCA Finals multiple times, and he's there again this year. He's currently ranked number 7 in the CCA standings. He's matched up against the horse General Wells. That 73-point ride is what we have in the lead right now. Chance Strogren trying to get this horse standing, takes the measurement of that rein. You want to make sure that rein is measured absolutely perfect. If it's too long, there's nothing to hold you inside of your saddle. If it's too short, there's a chance you get pulled up over the horse's head. Chance Strogren's ready to ride right now. Let's go to work, Cowboy. Keep moving. Yeah, buddy. Yes, sir, right there. Chance Strogren steps off. Good job. Big Beaver, Saskatchewan. We have a 73-point ride in the lead. Chance Strogren, we're going to see where he finishes up next to Blake Rasmussen. Chance Strogren right there. Great ride on that young horse brought to us by Prairie Rodeo, General Wells. And as we wait for the score back, we're going to head on down to Hostover. The Cowboys out of Coupel, Saskatchewan, currently rodeoing down in Wyoming on a rodeo scholarship. The Cowboy earlier on this season stepped up into the open, picked up a 4th place check in Radville, a 3rd place check in Whitewood. And in Verdun, Manitoba, he picked up 6th place in the long round. Keep riding, Hoss. Don't quit, buddy. Saskatchewan Cowboy out of Coupel steps off right there in front of the chutes. He says, "You like that, Grandpa?" Hostover. Good job, Cowboy. We have a 73-point ride in the lead, and we have a couple scores we are waiting to get relayed back to us. As soon as we get that, we will let you know where everyone falls. All right, we got 67.5 for Hostover. All right, we got a little bit of delayed news right now. And I believe Chance Strogren was 77.5. Yes, sir. That's what we are talking about. So 77.5, Chance Strogren, unofficially the champion of round number 1. Absolutely great ride on the bucking horse, General Wells. Once again, all my results are unofficial. All the results we get up here, they get handed off to our secretary, and they take them to the office, and they'll audit them again before it's all official. We're headed on down to our novice bull riding. This is going to be the Cowboy Davis Young, coming to us out of Styles Masonry Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, Davis Young is the reigning CFR steer riding champion. Just after 2 weeks ago, the performance he put up inside of Edmonton, Alberta was absolutely phenomenal. Davis Young's pulling his rope up right now. This Cowboy's rodeoed on the biggest stages in the world, including the Calgary Stampede, and he stepped up in the novice bull riding in 2024, and he's made absolutely phenomenal rides all year long. In Beausejour just a few weeks ago, this Cowboy rode a novice bull for 84 points. And that score was absolutely worth it. Each and every time he nods his head, he's going to try to win. Davis Young, let's go to work right now. Cowboy, sit up, Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, how about it right now for Davis Young? Absolutely phenomenal bull ride right there for that young cowboy, lighting it up. He's the 2022 CCA Junior Steer Riding Champion, the 2024 Canadian Champion Junior Steer Rider, and we're getting the scores right now put together. 78. We got a score of 78 points for Davis Young. Yeah, boy, cowboy, absolutely throwing the rides together. Okay. We're headed on down to the Mazer Group, New Holland Bucking Shoe right now. This is the cowboy out of Shellbrook, Saskatchewan. This is the young cowboy, Bo Armstrong. We met his younger brother earlier on in our junior steer riding, Bo Armstrong. We already met him in the novice saddle bronc riding, but now it is time for the novice bull riding. This cowboy rodeos in Saskatchewan High School Rodeo as well as the CCA. Former CCA finalist in the junior steer riding. And it looks like he's just about ready to nod. Let's go to work, cowboy. Bo Armstrong away from his hand. Bull moves forward. Bo's got him caught up. Just right, cowboy. The 6-second buzzer sounds. He steps off. And now Cody Strandquist, Caleb Bedford, they go to work. Good job, cowboy. This is Jet Lockey, the cowboy out of Wascata, Manitoba, into his hand. Good job, cowboy. Now he's got to find a place to get off. Going to get off away from his hand here today. Manitoba, I'm not sure if you heard me. That's Jet Lockey. Good job, cowboy. Riding absolutely phenomenal. We got a couple scores to get back. We have a 78 in the lead with Davis Young. Jet Lockey, that was a cowboy we just seen. An absolutely great ride right there. Bo Armstrong, another cowboy that made a good ride. You want to talk about how good these young up-and-coming novice and youth rough stock riders are. We bucked 6 steers, and we bucked 3 novice bulls, and we did not buck off 1 cowboy. So they came to ride, they came to play. They all were trying to win some of that Mrca Final Stampede money. All right, we get the scores back. Jet Lockey, 74 points for Jet Lockey, 71 points for Bo Armstrong. And a correction on Davis Young's score, he was 77. But regardless, Davis Young, our champion in round number 1 in our novice bull riding. right, it is now time to head from our rough stock end of the arena on down to our timed event ends. Thank you to Berglund Ranch Supply for sponsoring our timed event end of the arena as well. Now we're going to get it started off with one of the top tie-down ropers we have. This is none other than Tufton McLeod, the cowboy out of Moore, Saskatchewan. This cowboy's qualified to the Canadian Cowboys Association Finals multiple times in multiple events, our team roping, along with our tie-down roping as well. He qualified in 2024. So he'll be running in North Battleford next weekend, but here he goes to work right now. Tufton McLeod steps off, runs down the line, gets a great flank on this calf. There we go. Now the cowboy has to ride ahead. And we have the longest 6 seconds in all of rodeo right now. To make sure it's a qualified time, we get the nod of approval, and we got a time of a 9.4 for Tufton McLeod. Tufton McLeod, 1 week ago, he didn't even know he was going to be competing inside of this arena in the tie-down roping. So he's making the most of the opportunity presented to him right now. Now we're heading into another cowboy that rolled in at the last moment. This is the cowboy, Ori Brown. Ori comes to us out of Kenton, Manitoba. Earlier on this season, he picked up a 6th place check on Swan River, a 4th place check in Beausejour just a couple weeks ago. And his highest placing on the Manitoba Tour was in Asher in Manitoba, where he picked up 2nd place with a smoking time of a 10.8. All right, Ori Brown, just about ready to nod right now. That barrier line comes back into effect, which ensures this cowboy gives that calf a proper head start. That's going to be in no time. All right, as we do have a couple changes in our novice bull riding scores as well. Jet Lockey, they corrected your score. You were a 79. Davis Young, you were 78. So we're going to have to flip-flop first and second right there. Once again, Jet Lockey was 79. He picked up the win in the novice bull riding. Davis Young, 78. And in our saddle bronc riding, we got it organized as well. Hostover was 77.5, Chan Strogren was 73, and Blake Rasmussen was 73. Late breaking news, as my friend Doug Young would say. Next to go is none other than the cowboy Cade Christensen. The cowboy out of Nanton, Alberta. He picked up the reserve tie-down roping title in Radville, Saskatchewan earlier on this year with a time of 11.7. If he wants to take the lead in the round, he has to shave off over 2 seconds off of that time. So the cowboy's going to have his hammer cocked. Tufton McLeod not making it easy on the boys here on a Thursday night. Cade Christensen, this cowboy's been rodeoing hard in the Canadian Cowboys Association this year. He's a multi-event hand. Not only did he pick up second in Radville, he picked up money at Ole's Trading Post just a couple weeks ago as well. Gets the calf back standing, throws him down. The calf handles the flank absolutely perfectly, tries to get him gathered. He's having a little bit of tough luck right now. Gets them together, 1, 2, and there's a half hitch. Yes. Yep. We got a time of an 18.5 once it becomes official. All right, it becomes official. 18.5. We're going to head on down to another young gun who qualified to the National High School Finals through the Saskatchewan High School Rodeo ranks. He's a multiple-time CCA Finals qualifier in the tie-down roping. This is Kobe Kamita from just down the road in Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Down the arena, throws down and misses his slack just a little bit. He was a little bit late to pull his slack up right there. That calf keeps running and steps right through it. That's going to be a no time. No time for the young cowboy out of Weyburn, Saskatchewan, Kobe Kamita. Now it is time for the high point leader in the Canadian Cowboys Association out of Tegasky, Saskatchewan. This is Scott Sigfusson. The Cowboy qualified to the CCA Finals in the tie-down roping in number 8th ranked position going on into that weekend. The multi-event hand, we've met him in the team roping, in the steer wrestling, and now it is time for the tie-down roping. Let's go to work, Cowboy. Tegasky, Saskatchewan, Scott Sigfusson throws down. Great catch. All right, we got a qualified time of 14.2, good enough for number 2 in the go-round. We're headed on down to Indian Head, Saskatchewan for our next tie-down roper. He's heading on into the CCA Finals in number 3 spot. This is Bruce Dunham. The Cowboy was the reserve tie-down roping champion earlier on this year in Pilot Butte, Saskatchewan. Rossburn, Manitoba, he picked up the reserve title there as well. And in Ashland, Manitoba, he was first with a time of a 10.3. Gets a great head catch here right now. Let's go to work, Mr. Dunham. Let's come on, Bruce. Get some gathered. Yes, sir. So now Bruce Dunham rides ahead. The Cowboy out of Indian Head, Saskatchewan. Multiple-time CCA finalist, MRCA finalist. And how about straight to the top of the leaderboard with a time of a 9.0. Ladies and gentlemen, our next cowboy is out of Rosetown, Saskatchewan. One of the hardest things to do in rodeo is win your hometown rodeo, And this cowboy accomplished that feat earlier on this year at the North Battleford Kinsman Rodeo. The cowboy, born and raised in North Battleford, transplanted to Rosetown, qualified for his first ever CCA Finals on the year. The CCA Finals is headed to his hometown in North Battleford. The Cowboys qualified to his first ever Mrca Stampede Finals right now, and he nods his head. He's quick in the box. Come on, Matt, no. No time for the multiple-time KCRA Finals champion. No money on night number 1. Our next cowboy is a 2-time Canadian Cowboys Association tie-down roping champion. This is Kevin Dunham. He's coming to us out of Souris, Manitoba. This cowboy's first time he ever won the title in the tie-down roping was in 1996. He's currently ranked number 3. Correction, he picked up 3rd place in Radville earlier on this year. 4th place in Weyburn. He's made the pay window multiple times to come on into the Mrca Stampede Finals, ranked number 3 on the Manitoba Tour. He throws down, gets a nice catch, gets hung up just a little bit right there on the way down the line. Let's get him gathered. Let's get him tied. Come on, Kevin Dunham. Yes, sir. Now the cowboy rides ahead and we start our timer. We got a time of a 12.4, unofficially into number 3 spot in the go round. 12.4. Next to go is going to be a cowboy out of Binscarth, Manitoba. This is none other than Justin Bridgman. The cowboy picked up 4 separate wins on the Manitoba Tour this year. Austin, Manitoba, Brandon, Swan River, Beausejour. He's been absolutely lighting up the Manitoba Tour, and he's not done yet. The Cowboys' fastest time of the season on the Manitoba Tour was a 9.3, which if he ran that here tonight, would put him number 2 in the go-round, so we know he can be fast, and he has an absolutely great head catch. Gets that calf standing before he throws him back down, gets him gathered. Holy! And now the cowboy has to get back on his horse and ride ahead. For our official, Mr. Adams will start his stopwatch. We got a time of an 8.9 and a new leader. 8.9, the cowboy out of Binscarth, Manitoba, absolutely lighting it up in round number 1 at the Mrca Stampede Finals right here in Brandon, Manitoba. Good job, cowboy. All right, headed on down to Tate Bareback, the young cowboy out of Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. He's coming into the Mrca Stampede Finals, the highest ranked tie-down roper we have in the standings. He started off his year hot at the Tisdale Rambler Rodeo, where we watched him pick up a second place check with an 11.3. Most recently, he won first out of Rossburn, Manitoba, a little over a month ago. We have an 8.9 in the lead. That's Justin Bridgman. A 9.0 in number 2 spot. That's Bruce Dunham. And Tufton McLeod has a 9.4, holding him on to number 3 spot as of right now. Tate Bareback, the young gun's going to try to show them how to get it done on a Thursday night right here at the Westoba Credit Union Limited Center. That cowboy knew the times he had in front of him, and he was absolutely gunning for it right there. Unfortunately for Tate, that's going to be a no time. So unofficially, our champion in round number 1, the cowboy out of Binscarth, Manitoba, is none other than Justin Bridgman, unofficially, with a time of 8.9. Now we're going to head on down to the fastest event in rodeo and fastest growing event in rodeo. This is our ladies breakaway roping. We're going to get it started off with a young lady coming to us out of Sylvania, Saskatchewan. This is none other than Amy Bowditch. Amy Bowditch has qualified to the National High School Finals through the Saskatchewan High School Rodeo ranks. And then from then on, she's qualified to the CCA Finals multiple times. This year, she finds herself outside of the top 10 in unfamiliar territory, but she's going to try to change that and qualify to the 2024 CCA Finals through the Mrca Stampede Finals wild card. She's the gunner. She gets to set the pace right now. They have a whole lot of very, very talented competition coming up behind this cowgirl. Amy Bowditch just about ready to nod right now. Let's go to work, cowgirl. Sylvania, Saskatchewan. Not going to work out here today. That's going to be a no time. Now we're headed on down to a young lady out of Vibank, Saskatchewan that's trying to qualify to her first ever CCA Finals. This is Daylin Oliver. She rides in behind that barrier line. This cowgirl's been as fast as 2.7 that she ran earlier on this year, where she picked up a second and third split in Ashern, Manitoba. In Pilot Butte, Saskatchewan, she picked up 5th place with a time of 3.2, so we know that Daylin Oliver can get it done. The first time I announced this cowgirl was at the Chickachass First Nation COVID rodeos, and from then on, she's been building a great rodeo career. Let's go to work, cowboy. Takes the shot. Correction, cowgirl, I guess I should say. No time regardless. Daylin Oliver, no time. Now we're headed on down to the cowgirl out of Lucky Lake, Saskatchewan, originally coming to us out of Australia. This is none other than Sheridan Lillyman. The cowgirl picked up the first win of her Canadian Cowboys Association career earlier on this year at the historic Austin Threshermen's Reunion, where she ran a time of a 2.2. An absolutely smoking time, and she did not let up off the gas since then. She has now qualified to the CCA Finals, ranked number 3 in the ladies breakaway roping standings. Sheridan Lillyman, the cowgirl from down under, going to go to work right now. Great job. She's been making runs like that all year long. We got a time of a 3.2. .2 for Sheridan Lillyman, the cowgirl out of Lucky Lake, Saskatchewan. And now we're headed to a young lady out of northeastern Saskatchewan. This is Madeline Taylor coming to us out of Weldon. Madeline has built her career up, working her way up through the KCRA Rodeo ranks. She's a multiple-time KCRA Finals qualifier, and this year she's trying to qualify to her first CCA Finals in the ladies breakaway roping through the wild card spot. We only have one qualified time, and that was Sheridan Lillyman, a cowgirl who already has qualified to the CCA Finals, so that means the door is open. The only question is Madeline Taylor going to be able to walk through it? She's going to try to get everything looking just right. Now she nods her head. Let's go to work, cowgirl. We got a time of a 2.6. 2.6 and a new leader right there for Madeline Taylor. The cowgirl out of northern Saskatchewan getting it done and taking the lead as of right now. Good job, cowgirl. Headed on down to the next one. It is now time for the cowgirl out of Lakeland, Manitoba. This is Dana Gardner. Another cowgirl who is trying to use the Manitoba Tour to qualify for the CCA Finals. She does not yet have her spot, so she's going to try to win the finals, be the highest ranked out of the wild card contestants, and qualify there. Earlier on this year, this cowgirl absolutely lit it up in Wayway-Sakapo Rodeo, one of the highest paying rodeos of the year. She took home all the prize money for first place spot, picked up second the reserve title in Beauséjour just a little under a month ago, and she did that with a time of 3.2. She's going to try to build on that right now. Come on, cowgirl. Nice catch, nice run, absolutely perfect. We got a time of a 3.6, unofficially into number 3 for the go-round. 3.6 for Dana Gardner, the cowgirl out of Lakeland, Manitoba. Now it is time for the cowgirl who's ranked number 2 in the ladies breakaway roping standings coming on into the weekend when it comes down to the CCA standings. This is Hannah McCannell. The cowgirl picked up first place just under a month ago in Beauséjour, Manitoba. She owns the Horse of the Year in the ladies breakaway Zoom. We got a time of a 2.8. 2.8 unofficially the second fastest time in the go-round. Earlier on, we met Brady Chappell, one of the most decorated team ropers we have. This is that cowboy's wife, Brenna Chappell. She's qualified to the CCA Finals in North Battleford, Saskatchewan. She's coming to us out of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And earlier on this year in Ashern, Manitoba, she was crowned the champion with a time of a 2.6. In Austin, Manitoba at the Threshermen's Reunion and Stampede, she picked up second spot with a time of a 2.9. A hard-running calf here today. It's going to be a little bit too quick for her. That's going to be a no time. No time for Brenna Chappell. As now we're headed on down to the first ever Canadian Cowboys Breakaway Roping Champion. Out of Delisle, Saskatchewan, this is Jody Traynor. She's coming into the MRCA Stampede Finals, the third highest ranked breakaway roper competing here this weekend. She's qualified to the CCA Finals each and every year. We've sanctioned this breakaway roping, and she's doing more of the same this year, where she's going into the CCA Finals next weekend ranked number 6th in the CCA standings. We look to our leaderboard right now. Once again, we have a 2.6 in the lead. That's a young lady, Madeline Taylor. 2.8 has Hannah McCannell in number 2 spot, and a 3.2 has Sheridan Lillyman in number 3 spot right now. Jody Traynor wants to get that very nice gray horse of her standing just right. She's paying attention to the details behind that barrier line. There's a whole lot more going on inside of this rodeo arena than the average rodeo fan would think. No time for Jody Traynor. That cowgirl doesn't miss very often, but unfortunately tonight that is the case. That is going to be a no time. Right now it is time for the year-end champion in the CCA standings. This is Lacey Jordison. The cowgirl split the win earlier on in the Manitoba Tour at Whitewood, Saskatchewan. She's been absolutely lighting up the CCA rodeos all season long. That is why she's ranked number 1. The breakaway roping entries have been absolutely phenomenal all year long, and this cowgirl came out the best of the best. But unfortunately not tonight. That's going to be a no time. At the start of this season, our next cowgirl set a goal to try to enter as many CCA rodeos as she can and try to make a shot at qualifying for the CCA Finals. Not only is she qualifying for the CCA Finals, she's going into them in number 5 spot. When we look to our MRCA Manitoba Tour standing, she is in number 1 spot. This is Corrobert, Saskatchewan's Mallory Wright. She's qualified multiple times to the KCRA Finals, and this is her first year stepping up and qualifying for the CCA Finals. And that was very close to winning the go-around, but unfortunately that rope did not go around that calf's nose. That's going to be a no time, and that's going to bring a close to our breakaway roping. Unofficially, our fastest 3 teams, Sheridan Lillyman, the Australian, with a 3.2, and number 3 spot, a 2.8, has Hannah McCannell, number 2 spot, and Madeline Taylor, the young lady out of Weldon, Saskatchewan, with a 2.6, is our champion on night number 1. Right now it is time to head on down to the bucking chutes for the most dangerous 8 seconds on the face of the planet. It is none other than the bull riding, as we now welcome in back into the arena Our controllers of chaos, our cowboy lifesavers down there, we have two of the absolute best in the business. Not only are they selected to fight here at the Manitoba Finals, they are selected to fight next weekend at the CCA Finals. How about a one time for Caleb Bedford and Cody Strandquist? As right now we're headed on down to the buck and shoots for the first time to our action power buck and shoot. This is going to be the cowboy, Chase Skeen. Coming to us out of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. This young cowboy's absolutely lighting it up, qualifying for his first ever Canadian Cowboys Association Finals in the bull riding. He's a young up-and-comer, the youngest of four rodeoing brothers. And we may have saved the best for last, Chase Skeen. This cowboy's still in high school, and he rides very, very good. He came out of the gates, started it off hot at the Tisdale Rambler Rodeo, where he was crowned the reserve champion earlier on this year. In Weyburn, he was crowned the champion at a Manitoba Tour sanctioned rodeo as well. He's matched up against the bull Funkmaster, brought to us by Prairie Rodeo and Cody Strandquist, bucking bulls. Come on, cowboy. Chase, sit up, keep riding. Chase Skeen out of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, getting the job done just the way he has all year long. That young cowboy, good job, Chase Skeen. As the cowboy putting our officials together, 1-50 for the cowboy, and we get it back. And I believe we have a score back of 75 points. We're now headed down to the Fraser Auctions Buck and Shoot. We're headed on down to a rising star in the bull riding ranks. So we're happy to have him in the CCA Rodeo. This is none other than Hayden Mulvey. The cowboy's a former qualifier to the Canadian Finals Rodeo in the junior steer riding. He's the #1 ranked bull rider on the Manitoba Tour. He finished third in the standings when it comes on down to the year end. Hayden Mulvey, this cowboy is one of the best we got riding in the CCA this year. He picked up some big wins already this season, including Swan River, Manitoba, where he picked up all the money, winning over just $2,600. He picked up first in Arcola, first in Wapella, and he's looking to try to pick up a first place check on a Thursday night right here at the MRCA Final Stampede. This is Hayden Mulvey out of Alberta. Let's go to work, cowboy. Alberta, he's up and he's down. The young cowboy out of Brooks, Alberta. Ladies and gentlemen, he does not buck off very often, but unfortunately tonight that is the case. That is a rising star in the bull riding world, and you can hear from me right now. Bucked off, no score. Now we're headed down the road to Grenfell, Saskatchewan for Lucas Ozierny. Lucas is the youngest out of three brothers. I call them the handsome brothers of the CCA. They all got long hair. They all like to ride bulls, and they're all very, very good at what they do. But Lucas, he is stepping up just a little bit ahead of the pack this year. This cowboy's qualified to the Bull Riders of Canada National Finals. He's qualified to the Canadian Cowboys Association Finals, and he has not even graduated high school. We have a young crop of bull riders here this weekend. Out of 7 bull riders, only one of them has graduated high school so far. These are all rising stars. Lucas Ozierny's just trying to get this bull standing just a little bit. He's matched up against the bull Dodge Ram Martin. Looks like he is just about ready to nod. He wants that bull looking up and out into the arena. As I mentioned earlier before in our junior steer riding, is you do not want to take that bull when he's leaning on the back of the chutes, because you can't get your leg into the proper position to hold yourself at the starting point to pick up their timing. There's a whole lot that matters with that first jump, and Lucas Ozierny knows that. Right now that bull is leaning on his right leg just a little bit, so he's just getting our bullfighters up there. They're going to try to get his attention. He has his brother Jaden on the back there trying to push this bull over with his leg through the bars of the buck and chutes so that he can get his right leg into position. His left leg should be good. And he's also trying to use his body weight to pull that bull over as well. It looks like he's just about ready to nod. This is Lucas Ozierny out of Grenfell, Saskatchewan. Bucked off Lucas Ozierny, no score. We're headed back to Alberta for the Cowboy out of Sylvan Lake, Alberta. This is another rising star that goes by the name of Jet Wheeler. He started off his season with a bang at the Tisdale Rambler Rodeo, where he stepped out and rode the bull Black Gold, owned by Cody Strandquist, for 82 points. At the Brandon, Manitoba, Weway-Sakapo Gaspar Rodeo, one of the highest paying rodeos all year long. This Cowboy stepped up to the plate, was 82 points there, and picked up second place and the reserve bull riding title. Jet Wheeler, let's go to work, Cowboys. Just about ready to nod right now. Getting over the front end of that bull, is riding right hand down. Another instance where he wants that bull standing. Let's go to work. Jet Wheeler out of Sylvan Lake, Alberta. Reach, Cowboy. Get out of there. Gets tipped off into the well just a little bit, and now Cody Strandquist and Caleb Bedford are going to step in there, try to get that bull to pick up his head. Good job for our Cowboy bullfighters in there. Jet Wheeler, that was a tough draw. Got the best of them here tonight. That's going to be bucked off, no score. Now we're headed on over to Kincaid, Saskatchewan for the bull rider that goes by the name of Judd Collinis. This Cowboy rises to the occasion when there's pressure put on him, and he has qualified for the 2024 CCA Finals already this year, so now he is trying to win the money. He is matched up against the bull that goes by the name of Gravedigger. The action is headed into the Mazer Group bucking chute. Judd Collinis, this guy makes a habit of riding when everyone else bucks off. There's been multiple times throughout his bull riding career, including at one of our highest paying rodeos out there in Unity, Saskatchewan, where he was the only ride where he took home over $4,800 for 8 seconds of work. He's a multiple-time CCA Finals qualifier. He's went down south and rodeoed on a rodeo scholarship in the United States out of America, out of Dawson City Community College. And this Cowboy is the only bull rider. He is the veteran of the group, and he's only 24 years of age. He's our only bull rider that has graduated high school. So he's going to take that veteran knowledge he has, as this bull is giving him a little bit of tough time in there. Nods his head. Come on, Cowboy. Sit up. bucked off Judd Colonist, no score. As we're headed on down to the Styles Masonry Limited bucking chute, it is now time to meet the number one cowboy in the Canadian Cowboys Association standings. This is none other than Carl Wasillo. He's coming to us out of Maple Creek, Saskatchewan, and he's currently ranked number 3 in the Manitoba Tour standings coming on into the weekend. He was the reserve bull riding champion in Radville, Saskatchewan earlier on this year, where it was 80 points on the bull named King of the Hill. Tonight, he's matched up against the bull Moose. This is one of the older bucking bulls we have bucking here this weekend. And this bull has been there, done that, bucked on the PBR Canada level, bucked on the Canadian Cowboys Association finals in the past as well. And tonight, he's matched up against the reigning year-end champion, Carl Wasillo. This cowboy is one of the toughest cowboys to get on the ground when it comes on down to the bull riding in the Canadian Cowboys Association standings. He rides about 64% of his bulls already this year. We only have one qualified ride as of right now, and that's that 75-point ride posted by Prince Albert, Saskatchewan's Chase Skeen. Carl Wasillo slides and rides, nods his head. Come on, Carl, hustle. Keep getting to that front end. The bull moves, giving him a few moves back away to the left. Steps off. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the year-end champion in the CCA bull riding standings. Good job, Carl Wasillo. Going to make our judges go to work a little bit right now. $73 points. And then there was one. It's time for our final bull rider of the night. This is Jace Bareback. He's matched up against the bull Mojo. This cowboy's number 1 in the all-around standings. He picked up second in Ashern earlier on this year. Let's go to work, cowboy. Jace Bareback put together an absolutely great ride right there. Our judges have the official word on that. We have a 75-point ride in the lead. I believe we have a 73 in number 2 spot as of right now. $68 points. 68 points. 76 points. Correction. 76 points for Jace Bareback right there. Unofficially to the top of the leaderboard. That's going to bring a close to our bull riding here tonight. So Jace Bareback, unofficially our champion, around number 1, punching his ticket to the 2024 CCA Finals. 76 points. Good job, cowboy. Ladies and gentlemen, that will bring a close to our Thursday night performance of the Mrca Stampede Finals right here in Brandon, Manitoba. My name is Lane LaPlante. It's been an absolute pleasure to be the voice of the Mrca Stampede Finals. Thank you to each and every one of you for coming on out, and thank you to our sponsors, Verdant Animal Hospital, Mazer Group, Master Feeds, Westoba Credit Union Limited, Styles Masonry Limited, Berglund Ranch Supply, Fraser Auction Limited, Ole's Trading Post and Trucking, Action Power, Heartland Livestock Services, Garcia Group of Companies, and Days Inn. Thank you to each and every one of our sponsors, and thank you to each and every one of you for coming on out. For those of you who are driving, please don't drink. And we'll see you tomorrow night right here at 7 p.m. for Friday night of the 2024 MRCA Stampede Finals.